Hey everyone, this is Sendoh, and today we woke up to a brand new Counter-Strike update, and in this case it's focused on fixing multiple bugs that emerged after the recent map update. Still, after this patch, they've left behind some very curious clues about what they might be working on, and it looks like they could be preparing a time-limited event or game mode where some CS2 maps might have a nighttime setting. So today we're going to talk about all of this and more, so let's go! As many of you already know, whenever Valve releases a somewhat significant update in Counter-Strike, all sorts of bugs and issues tend to pop up, and this time has been no different. Last night we received a patch addressing some of those issues, so let's talk about them. To start off, they fixed a bug where if you were doing a mission and got disconnected mid-game, you would lose all your progress upon reconnecting to the server. As for map, so far they've only updated Grail, since there was an extremely easy way to get out of the map and use it to gain an unfair competitive advantage. On top of that, there were lots of collision issues, windows without collision where utility could be thrown through, and other small problems, which should now be resolved. Even so, this isn't the only map with issues. In Jura, it's also possible to escape the playable area in various ways, so it's very likely we'll be seeing more patches in the coming days. They've also fixed the smoke bug where if you threw a Molotov nearby you could see players who were inside or near the smoke. Several bugs have also been addressed and audio elements improved. To wrap up, they fixed some crashes and made general stability improvements to the game. This doesn't necessarily mean better FPS, but fewer drops and crashes. According to a benchmark done by Thor CS2, after this patch there are no notable FPS drops, it's much more stable. After this patch, the CS2 team left traces of something brand new in the game's code, and thanks to Thor CS2, we've seen that a new audio file called Ancient Night has been added. You don't need to be a genius to figure out that this sound is related to a nighttime version of the Ancient map, but why would they make a night map in CS2? Honestly, it makes no sense for competitive mode, since the goal is for maps to be clearly visible, but for a temporary event or a casual game mode, it makes a lot of sense. Now that we have weekly missions, which are referred to as recurring missions in the game's code, it wouldn't be strange if one day they launched a weekly event where players had to play on alternate versions of maps to gain extra XP. While it's still too early to have more details and this is all speculation, I'd like to remind you that a new mission category labeled Operation Missions was also found in the game's code. So we could either be looking at a limited time event or perhaps a cooperative mission like the ones from the past. Honestly, nighttime maps in Counter-Strike are visually beautiful, and even if they don't serve for Premier mode, they're great for a fun, casual experience. But as always, the fact that they're working on this now doesn't mean it's coming out anytime soon. We're still waiting, for example, on the retakes mode, which had a half-finished version discovered when Train was released over 6 months ago. We'll see if future patches reveal new audio files related to other night maps. I also want to remind you that when it was discovered that Train would be released, ambient sounds of rain and thunder were found in the game files, so even if this seems like a small detail, it's a big clue about future CS2 content. To finish off today's video, we need to discuss a controversy involving a well-known Counter-Strike 2 map developer, one of the creators behind maps like Whistle, Palais and Assembly, as well as many other maps released in past CSGO operations. Yesterday, he posted a tweet saying the level of pessimism in the Counter-Strike community was too much, that nothing is ever enough, and unsurprisingly, a lot of people in the community came after him for it. The reality is that many saw this message as being out of touch with the current state of the game. Still, I have to say there's a small bit of truth to it. But hear me out. About a month ago, when the Armory Pass update and weekly drops came out, a lot of comments on social media and on my videos said it wasn't a major update, that it was just the skins and a way to milk money from us, that the community wanted real content, maps, game modes or weekly missions, some actual reason to play the game. Now that new maps have been released, the complaint is that this also isn't content, that no one wants to play new maps. And honestly, I try to understand where you're coming from, but the reality is, no matter what happens, there will always be people complaining about everything. It's never enough. And that's where quoting devs' criticism of the community comes from. But it's also true that, looking at it objectively, what content is actually made by Valve? Most of the skins are created by the community, and the maps are also created by volunteer artists. And even if they're compensated appropriately, the fact remains that the only thing Valve has given us this year is a Season 2 of Premier, which with just 1 month left to go still doesn't have a global ranking because it's full of cheaters, and a system with one single weekly mission that gives us very little XP. Everything else is created by the players themselves. Honestly, as a business model, it's brilliant. You don't even have to pay workers to maintain the game. The community does it for you. The fairest complaint is that Valve has spent practically all of 2025 on vacation, releasing community-created content while other aspects of the game are falling apart due to cheaters. And even though they've been rolling out new detection modules, it's still not enough. Obviously, Quoting Dev didn't take the criticism well and posted another tweet saying that his original message had only attracted angry people who have a low trust factor, which is why they run into cheaters, that they just like to complain for the sake of it. But the reality is that this artist spends most of his time playing regular competitive matches, and in Premier mode he has a very low elo and not even 10 wins, which explains why his perspective is so disconnected from the current state of competitive play. Does the community love to complain about absolutely everything? Yes, absolutely. But it's also true that the frustration can be justified because it's the community that puts in the effort to maintain the game, not the developers. We want to see them be more active and actually try. That's all I've got for today. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, don't forget to subscribe to stay up to date with all the latest CS2 news. I'm Sendoh and I'll see you next time.